Made my way to Traverse City today, stood in some long lines to rally with Democratic presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders. The wait was long, but the sun was warm. While I was standing there, I noticed Donald Trump's airplane sitting over at the airport. Thought I'd get a quick shot of it. Campaign workers made their way around to people in the line and asked them if they would volunteer. Of course I did. Signed up for tomorrow and Sunday. Helping with the campaign, I'll be going door to door asking folks to vote for Bernie Sanders. And our primary in Michigan is March 8th. And I urge everybody to get out and do the same thing. Vote for Bernie on the issues and values. There's really no other choice for me. Get out there and vote for Bernie Sanders March 8th, Michigan.
That our venue is not as large as it should be, so we gotta kind of stuff you here in the overflow room. But we ended up having a lot more people show up than we anticipated, which is I'm going to speak in a minute in the other room, and you'll be able to hear it. But I did want to say a few things and just meet you personally and say this, that a great nation cannot go forward unless we have the courage to look honestly at our problems and understand what's going on. And what's going on is that today we have a corrupt campaign finance system. You all know what that means. It means that instead of one person, one vote, which is what democracy is supposed to be about, we're now in a situation where billionaires are literally buying elections. Together, we are going to overturn Citizens United. And bring back real democracy to our country. Issue number 2. We have a rigged economy. And what that means is that many of you and your family members are now working longer hours for lower wages, and almost all of the new income and wealth generated in America is going to the top 1%. Now that's not what the American economy should be. That is not a moral economy. It is not a sustainable economy. And together, what we have got to do is create an economy that works for everybody, not just the 1%. And there are a lot of aspects to that. It means raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. It means pay equity for women so they're not making $70. I was in Flint, Michigan last week, and what I saw there was beyond belief. It means that we have to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure and create millions of decent-paying jobs. And I'll tell you what else it means. And this is a real area of difference between Secretary Clinton and myself. It means that we need trade policies in this country that work for workers, not just large multinational corporations. trade agreements like NAFTA and CAFTA and permanent normal trade relations with China and the Colombian Free Trade Agreement, I knew that what those trade agreements were about were forcing American workers to compete against desperate people who were making pennies an hour. And the result of those trade agreements is that in our country we have lost tens of thousands of factories, millions of decent paying jobs, and wages have been driven down, down, down. I voted and fought against all of those trade agreements. Secretary Clinton supported most of them. I was right, she was wrong. Lastly, at a time of massive income and wealth inequality, and the media doesn't talk about it too much, but at a time when the top 1/10 of 1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. We have got to be pretty clear and tell the billionaires and profitable corporations that yes, they are going to start paying their fair share of taxes.
Right.
Let me just conclude by saying that what this campaign is about is asking the American people to think big, to think outside of the box, not to think small, to ask yourselves why the United States is the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people.
Right.
To ask why the United States is one of the very few countries in the entire world, rich or poor, that doesn't have paid family and medical leave. To ask why it is, when everybody here knows how important education is, why is it that millions of our people have left school, left college, deeply, deeply in debt, burdened by these outrageous levels of student debt?
Right, Bernie.
We should be encouraging our people, young and middle-aged, to get all of the education they need, not punishing them.
That's right, Bernie.
Now, the Donald Trumps of the world want to divide us up. Want to divide us up and tell us we're supposed to hate Mexicans or Latinos or Muslims and all that. You all know that if we stand together, we don't let them divide us up. There is nothing that this great country cannot accomplish. That is what this campaign is about. And I hope very much that on March 15th, when you have your primary, March 8th? Don't vote on March 15th. That would be very bad. March 8th, let's do it then. If you came in on March 15th, it'd be a little bit too late. All right. So come in, and this is what we have found so far during this campaign, is when there is a large voter turnout, we do very, very well. We just won some great victories last week in Oklahoma, Colorado, Minnesota, and that's what happens when there's a large voter turnout. When there's a small voter turnout, we don't do so well. So please bring your friends and your relatives and your co-workers and your family members out to vote. With a large turnout here, a large voter turnout here, I am confident that we can win. Thank you all very much.